Okay, good evening. I'd like to call this evening's Common Council meeting to order. Today is Tuesday, March 10th, and it is 7 p.m. I'll ask our clerk to call the roll.
Mayor Kim Smith,
Here.
Alder Bernash,
Here. Here.
Alder Lohendorf,
Here.
Alder Knott,
Here.
Alder Jurassic,
Here.
Alder Wolf,
Here.
and Alder Milky is excused absent.
Thank you for that. Item 2, Pledge of the Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice. Thank you for that. Item 3, rules of the City of Onalaska Common Council and its subcommittees. This is a harassment-free forum. The City Council and subcommittee meetings shall be conducted in a courteous manner. Citizens, council, and committee members shall be allowed to state their positions in an atmosphere free of slander, obscene remarks, or threats of violence. Sufficient warnings may be given by the sergeant at arms or the chair at any time during the remarks, and in the event that any individual shall violate the rules of decorum as set forth, such person may then be cut off from comment or debate. Item 4 is public input. At this time, we'd like to welcome anyone from the public who would like to address the Common Council may do so. If you choose to give public input, please begin by stating your name and your address and limit your comments to 3 minutes per individual. Because we were anticipating turnout today, we do have a sign-in, which just makes it easier for us to spell your name correctly and know who you are. That is located right next to Joanne. So if you do choose to speak, please, in addition to telling us your name and address, write it down there, and you can do it either before or after you speak as you're comfortable. So at this time, I'll open up the public input and welcome anyone who would like to address us this evening. Welcome.
Hi, my name is Tara Holen. I live at 309 14th Avenue North, Onalaska, Wisconsin. I am here tonight to discuss the ordinance 12-01-39 for rummage sales in within the city limits. I'm also here to see if there's any way we can change the ordinance from so many years ago, such as making rummage sales unlimited or some type of permit to purchase with the ability to have unlimited sales within the calendar year. Rummage sales are a family friend gathering, at least in my family. We also have rummage sales in a way to help the community, reasonable priced or free items that may otherwise not for other families to afford. It is a way to put a smile on a kid's face or a parent to feel good about getting their something they otherwise could not afford. It is giving back to the community that we all live in. Rummage sales are reasons family and friends get together to find the one-of-a-kind treasures, wedding supplies, baby items, or the thrill of finding that one piece that someone has always been looking for. It's fun, it's entertaining. Thank you for the opportunity of letting me speak, and I appreciate your time listening. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Come on up. Welcome.
Hello, my name is Matt Mansky, owner of Hedgehog ATV at 2700 Abbey Road. I am here in support of the opening of streets in Onalaska for UTV, ATV usage. It's for me as a business owner, it's a great opportunity. I can have customers drive right to my front door. If Abbey Road is one of the routes that can get people to County S or anywhere else outside of the city limits, they're literally going to be driving 20 feet from my front door. So and an enthusiast, I support this 100%. So hopefully you can make it happen.
Thank you, sir. I mean, you can take the microphone to him if it's
Awesome.
okay.
Not that much of a cryptic.
Well, welcome.
Good evening. My name's Paul Subkowiak. I'm here representing the Cooley Golf Bowl. I've been at the Cooley Golf Bowl for almost 37 years now, so I've seen a lot of what's happened in Onalaska over the years. It's been a great place to work, community to work in. But anyway, I'm here too as the Cooley Golf Bowl to, we want to support or would like to see the UTV passed where we could hopefully have UTVs in the town. It would obviously benefit us, for customers, golfers, bowlers, everybody, especially I know these days there's a lot of people that have UTVs that do take them up north riding areas around. But then if it'd be nice for them too, if they could utilize it while they're home here, that they could utilize them to benefit local businesses and be able to travel locally with them as long as they have them. Because I know a lot of people, including myself, we spend a lot of money on these machines. I actually spend more on mine than I do out of my regular vehicle. So it would be nice, if we could utilize it a little bit more. So that would be great. And plus the tourism dollars with UTVs now has really gotten to be a lot in Wisconsin. So I just think it would be great if could see what we could do to try and get the streets opened or certain streets or whatnot here would be great. So I thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Sandy Thompson. I'm from W 7802 County Road Z in the town of Onalaska. I'm here also in support of encouraging the city leadership to open up the city of Onalaska as much as possible to the UTV traffic. I was very instrumental working with our town chair in Onalaska, the town, with getting our ordinance written, and we were fortunate to get that approved in October. It's gone very successfully. We have all our county roads approved now, and our folks are really, really enjoying it. So it would be great to enhance our connectivity to a lot of other places, including the city. So I don't want to take up much of your time, but I just want to strongly encourage you to move forward with that and approve it. And if it's not breaking any rules, there may be people here who don't feel comfortable getting up and talking, but could I ask if people that are here in favor of the UTV openings in Onalaska raise their hand? Do I break any rules by doing
Do
that?
not break any rules by
Okay,
doing that.
everybody who might be supporting UTVs in the city of Onalaska, if you'd raise your hand. That's pretty much why most of us came, I think. Thank you very much, and I look forward to the excitement of seeing this happen.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay, anybody else? Welcome.
Thank you. Gary Hogan, W6870 Hidden Valley Road, Holman. I too am in favor of opening the roads in Onalaska for, as the reasons that everybody has brought up. But I also have properties in the city of Onalaska that I plow. And it would make my life so much easier if I didn't have to throw them on a big trailer, bring them into the city, unload them, plow, and then load them back up. So, and again, supporting the local businesses, we do a lot of running on the weekends, and I would prefer not have to run up north. I'd spend my money local. So I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Would anyone else like to speak for public input? Okay, second call for anyone wanting to give public input. Third and final call for anyone wishing to give public input this evening. Okay, public input is now closed, and we'll move on to the report from the mayor. Item 5A is a presentation by the Cooley Cruiser Group and a request to allow utility terrain vehicles and ATVs on city streets. At this time, I'd like to welcome Rhonda Peterson. You can go ahead and take it over, Rhonda.
Okay, we're going to tag team this, so please bear with us. Thank you, first of all, for allowing us to come tonight. My name is Rhonda Peterson, and I am the president of Cooley Cruisers ATV UTV Club in La Crosse County. We are in our fourth year. We're members of the Wisconsin ATV UTV and the Joint Council ATV. We meet monthly, and Cooley Cruisers is a nonprofit organizations, so we love to give back with fundraising and donating to our local communities and programs, along with the love of the sport. We lost a club member to cancer. His last wish was to have a memorial ride and a benefit and to donate the funds to the local children with cancer. On October 25th, we were fulfilled his wish. Sorry, apologize. So we donated $3,668 to the pediatric cancer floor patients and families through Children's Miracle Network at Amplify by Health by Gunderson, which they weren't really a part of it, but they were really pleased when they found out that the money was coming to them and going to work with us with all the future years. So along with that, this is our third year for the community cruise with June Dairy Days. And because we opened up the Bryce's Prairie, we will be traveling from Dairy Days to the Prairie and back, about a 109-mile trip. And then also this year, we'll be honoring the memory of children taken too soon on August 29. So today I came to help educate, give information, and ask that you approve and choose to direct the staff to develop a local ordinance to allow ATVs and UTVs to share the roads in the city of Onalaska. In 2018, Wisconsin Statutes 23.33 adopted a change to authorize cities, villages, and towns to pass ordinances that permit ATVs and UTVs on local roads with speed limits of 35 miles per hour or less. In 2021, Wisconsin Act 70 further amended the definition of UTVs eligible for registration. Wisconsin has 65,000 miles of approved road routes and 2,300 miles of trails. Here in La Crosse County, we have approved 250 miles of the 280 miles of county highway roads and all connecting town roads as well. In the towns of Madary and town of Onalaska, even with a signed ordinance, they have routes that cannot be accessed due to the city of Onalaska not having a signed ordinance. DNR 2024 regulations defines what is needed for operation. Wisconsin DNR laws, along with the state statutes that we follow and enforce, the booklet defines who and what is needed and where. For example, machines ride single file in the flow of traffic at road speed. Once the city approves an ordinance and the signs are installed, the roads can be opened. La Crosse County Sheriff John Siegel states, "It makes it much easier for law enforcement to take care of regular routine business with all roads open and not worry about what is not open." When connecting the city of Onalaska to the La Crosse County road trail system, it'll allow the city to benefit directly and allow residents to leave the city to a connecting approved route as well. 2023 in Wisconsin, riders generated $4.2 billion with a total economic impact of $5.4 billion. The market is projected at a growth rate of 6.10% in the next 10 years, with numbers reaching $21.31 billion. Also, gas taxes paid by users generate a significant revenue of around $2.9 million annually in fuel tax transfers. Along with that, sorry, tickle my throat. With it acting as a dual investment in both specialized trails and public road infrastructure. City of Onalaska has 2 ATV UTV businesses, along with Quick Trip, who sponsor Coulee Cruisers UTV Club. Quick Trip sponsors us with 34 locations within the 10 counties in the Joint Council area on the approved road routes. Getting approved by the city of Onalaska would add 5 more locations to the map. Think smart before you start. Wisconsin DNR Safety acts to reduce the number of fatal crashes. As of 2024, there were a record high of 792 registered machines in Wisconsin. The popularity is driven by the UTVs for their greater versatility, enhanced safety, and comfort, along with the stability and social family-friendly experience compared to the traditional ATV. In 2025, there were 41 fatal accidents. With over 500,000 registered machines, that fatality rate is a 0.00799%. Wisconsin also has 5.7 million cars, trucks, and vans. With 450 reported deaths in 2025, that percentage rate is also 0.00799%. So there's no additional traffic on the roads because we can only choose to drive one at a time. Residents are requesting to open the road routes with a safe, practical way to get around town. Enjoy the outdoors, going to the games, grabbing lunch, running quick errands without always taking a full-size vehicle. It's not about adding clutter or risk. It's about convenience, affordability, giving families more options and helping people to enjoy the community in a fun, relaxed, and responsible way. Governor Evers states on February 6th of 2026, I'm glad there was bipartisan support to get this bill passed today, so we can make sure more UTVs are being registered and legally operated while also continuing to support both our state's manufacturing industry and our already booming outdoor recreation industry. So while the key growth is fueled by factors like increasing demand for our eco-friendly vehicles and the launch of electric UTVs, still, here's the key one. She's not watching. My UTV is larger than a smart car, and we allow smart cars to drive on the interstate system at 70 miles per hour. Opening these routes is more than just roads. It's about sharing and connecting the community. By welcoming riders, we are welcoming new opportunities for our local businesses to thrive, encouraging tourism, and fostering an environment where our economy grows together. Let us add the city of Onalaska to the destination that brings people together, ensuring a prosperous future for everyone. Thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing the roads with us.
Okay, thank you for that, Rhonda. Do the counselors have any questions? And I think our intent with this tonight was to get an indication from the council, how you'd like to proceed before, no matter what, it would have to be fully vetted out and some staff time spent, et cetera. So if any questions, or go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, so you're taking a sensing of us and where we'd like to go?
Yeah, I did.
Look at it.
I didn't.
Yeah, again, I'm not knocking motorcycles. That's not my point here, but they're also larger than motorcycles, and we let motorcycles go on the interstate, and they probably have a higher fatality rate. I would not try to curtail motorcycle riding. That's my point of the statement, is that, yeah, I'm usually for more freedom than less freedom personally. And, I assume that they have to be street legal in order
Yes.
to do this.
Yes.
So,
Yeah, so the Wisconsin, I brought along books if everybody wants one. I have the Wisconsin, the DNR book that tells you everything that has to be. I have one for everybody. If you'd like that.
yeah, I know I've got a lawn tractor. It's the smallest one that John Deere makes, but it's street legal because it's got the warning triangle and all that. And I have driven it to go over to neighbors about half a mile away because they needed to use my bucket loader. And that's perfectly legal to do. I don't see why a UTV or an ATV would be that radically different, to be honest. And I'd be holding up traffic. They went. I don't mind about maybe 15 or 20 miles an hour.
Okay, counselors, do you have any questions? Larry?
Thank you, Mayor. You're looking for opening all streets, not just a trail through town?
Originally, yes. I mean, that is our goal. Just here's, if I can just explain a little bit. So Mayor Smith did say, well, maybe you should bring in two options. And I try. And I do have a map, but here's the deal. Like, say we open Sand Lake Coulee, or in 12th Avenue coming through. Well, if I live a block over, how do I get there? You see what I'm saying? So I did square off, like main roads, like Riders Club and, Quincy and Main Street. But if I'm on 2nd Avenue or 3rd Avenue, how do I get to Main Street? So it's not like the people are going to be out there driving up and down the roads just for something to do. They're going to drive to the road to get to the gas station or to the grocery store, or, to a restaurant or to get out. County Road S is open all the way right here to Sand Lake Coulee Road. So we opened that with the town of Onalaska. So that's our closest escape route, if you want to call it that. So they can go. And then Abbey Lane will take you right to the town of Onalaska as well. and right through Bryce's Prairie, and then, you can get out on Double X and you can drive all the way to Lake Superior. Yes, so, yeah, with 65,000 miles of the open roads here in the state of Wisconsin and only 2,300 miles of trails. I don't know when that one came up, but it's the map with all the pink lines, and the pink is all the roads and the yellow is the trails, so it shows,
Thank you.
thank you.
Yeah, so I guess we just need some kind of indication from the council. Either you're opposed to this and we shouldn't waste any time. You would like us to look into what it would take and to fully vet out and develop a plan to potentially open the city to UTV traffic on the legally allowed roads, which would mean any of the numbered highways, like the State Highway 16, which is our main street, would not be allowed. No matter what we do, we can't make it allowed because that is a state designated road. And yes,
Can I interrupt you? I'm sorry. Yes, it can. Any road with 35 miles per hour and under.
okay, so
Yeah,
if it's
is the
under 35,
jurisdiction
see,
of
this
the
is why
city.
Rhonda's here tonight.
Yeah, yeah. So any road in the city of Mount Alaska, any road is approved.
If
through
the
you.
speed
There-
limit is
Yep.
low. Okay.
So the only thing would be is when you get to, help me out, past Royal, the next one starts with an S, the next street.
Nick? Nick?
Schnick Road, the one with the
So
quick
going,
trip?
going out, yep, one before Quick Trip would actually be the last one because your speed limit changes to 45. So at that 45-mile-an-hour speed limit, then I would go to the DOT and I believe that's about right at your line because then it goes to the town of Alaska. And then I could ask for a connecting route through the DOT because of the 45-mile-an-hour speed limit. But otherwise, all of your roads are 35 miles per hour, so every road. So Second Avenue, all the way, Main Street, all of them, doesn't matter. It's the so like if you look at Sparta, it's a real easy thing. So when you drive into Sparta, you're on 16, but once the speed limit drops to 35, that's open. You'll see it signed all the way through. Highway 27 runs north and south. That's all open. 71, 21, everything that's within the city is the jurisdiction of the city.
Okay,
So anything under 35 miles per hour.
thank you for that.
Thank you. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you did. I'm glad. Then that's why we wanted you to come
Yeah.
because you
So,
could speak
yeah.
intelligently about it. Kathy?
Does that only apply to the road that you're actually traveling on and not like if you're crossing? So let's say I'm going to Hy-Vee or to Woodman's and I need to get across 16?
Mhm.
I would be allowed to do that, right? Because I'm just crossing the highway and I'm not
You would
traveling
still-
on
You
it.
would still, it's a straightaway crossway, so yes.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
It's still approved, or, would be the jurisdiction of the city.
Rick, did you want to add anything or ask any questions?
No questions. I was part of the original meeting when we met too, so I got a lot of good information there. Also learning a lot of good information tonight as well. Yeah, really looking to see if there's an appetite for council, for staff to start looking into this. We would bring back obviously additional information, gather some, maybe even some additional speakers. We would take a look and see what that would be all about and then come back here, once, twice, a couple of times as we need to in order to kind of follow through with what it is that you want us to do. So and I don't know if at the moment it's necessary to know whether you want all the streets open versus just what would it look like if we were to go down this route.
Yeah, we just don't want to spend any staff time if we already know it's.
Need a motion?
Do you want a motion?
I don't think we need a motion. I think we just need to have some feedback before we spend any staff time because whatever we come back with can still be developed further. It'll have to be fully vetted out through public opinion and everything.
May want to ask if Diane has any input.
Diane, did you want to ask any questions or give any input on this topic?
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Amanda. I now have the chat feature back on my screen. I personally followed very closely La Crosse County and their issues and such, and some of them may or may not mirror the city of Onalaska's, but I look forward to having more discussions about this. I would hope that we are not looking to pass a motion to go say yes tonight, because I think the city of Onalaska has always been very thoughtful about what we do and how we do it. And I just think that we just need to have it well fleshed out. So I would encourage staff. I'm hoping that, I don't know if we have a motion yet, but I would hope that we would give this to staff to come back with more information so we can all really understand it and do best by our community. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Diane. And we weren't looking for a motion. We were just looking for an indication from the council if we should put together something to work on. If that's okay with you.
Yes.
Okay. Jim Benash?
I do think it needs to be vetted more. I don't know if the city's going to have to go through a referendum or not, but I need to hear more from the citizens of Onalaska whether they want to do this or not. And I think we should vet it just to see what's out there and need the police, costs to the city for signage and what have you, what we need to do, what roads, what have you. So if we want to move forward with that, I'd just like to get a little more information before I go ahead and make a determination one way or the other.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I think we've heard from pretty much everyone. I feel everyone is in favor of at least gathering more information and proceeding at this point. So I think I'm good with that. And thank you very much, Rhonda, and all of you for coming in. We appreciate your input and all the work that you put into developing the presentation and getting us the information we need.
Thank you. I appreciate that. If you just give us a minute so we can empty your room, because I'm sure.
Oh, we're used to that.
And I would just like to throw out there that the club will cover the signs. So we do fundraise and that to raise the money to cover all the signs. So.
Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you.
Okay, John Hanadel, you're going to be up next if you want to work your way up here.
Oh, yes, your books. I can totally see myself in a pinky.
Everyone can read up on it. Thank you. I don't need one.
Sure.
Okay, item B is the Red Cross presentation and proclamation. I do have the proclamation in the packet for your reading pleasure, but I did invite John here, who is the community volunteer leader for the American Red Cross. I invited him to just share a few words about the Red Cross for this evening. Welcome, John.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I'll take just a minute or two of your time this evening. First, I want to thank the mayor for agreeing to do a proclamation declaring March Red Cross Month in the city of Onalaska. We're all fortunate, I think we realize that, to live where we do compared to a lot of areas in the country and the world where there are a lot of very significant disasters. Sometimes, we take that for granted that we're not in a hurricane zone. However, things do still happen, in La Crosse where there's assistance needed. And I wanted to just share three little statistics with you of activities of the Red Cross within the city last year. We responded to three what we call disaster operations, which were all single-family home fires. So we assisted three families, one in each of those home fire incidents. I don't know the details, but a lot of times it might be some assistance with housing, some financial support just to kind of help them get through the next couple of days. If they need any sorts of, maybe talking to someone to kind of deal with the trauma or grief of going through that incident, we assist in that as well. Second thing, we went in 22 homes this past year with the assistance of the fire department. So thank you, Chief. Really appreciate the assistance of your team. But we were in 22 homes as part of our home fire safety program and installed 51 smoke alarms to keep those 22 homes safer within the city. And then we had 40 blood drives throughout the year, so almost one a week. And from those 40 blood drives, we collected 816 units of blood, which I work on the disaster side of things, not the blood side of things, so I don't understand how all of it works, but I know we normally count the kind of 3 lives, up to 3 lives can be saved with a unit of blood or impacted with a unit of blood. So basically that's enough blood to positively impact over 2,400 people. One thing we have coming up a month from tomorrow actually is another sound the alarm event. I'd mentioned the fire department had assisted us with that event last year. We targeted a lot of the mobile home parks within the county. This year we're taking a little different tilt and we're actually trying to target more of the Hmong community. It's a community we just don't have a lot of connection with as much as we like, and felt like it was a good opportunity to reach out and really try to be more inclusive with helping people in the community. So I appreciate the support of the city, support of the fire department. Red Cross really loves having partners like all of you.
Thank you so much. Thank you for what you're doing. Appreciate you. Okay, item C, Seven Rivers Cardiac Arrest Preparedness Education Automated External Defibrillators Award. Jeremy.
Good evening. On February 12th, I had the honor of accepting an award on behalf of the city of Onalaska for the Community AED Award for the work that we did collaboratively as a community in getting the Heart Safe designation last year. So that was pretty good. But on top of that, or as a caveat to that, February 15th here in Onalaska at the high school, the seventh grade Royals basketball family had an event that one of their members went into sudden cardiac arrest at the high school. And immediate CPR was given and an AED was used. And that individual attended a CPR training that I did last week with 40 of their members. So it's pretty neat to see kind of full circle that this is, kind of happening and working in our community. And on top of that as well, we're part of monthly safety meetings with the school district. And they have seen that the work that we've done, and they are also going to, it's Project Adam, which is kind of an offshoot of the Heart Safe community, where their goal is to become a Heart Safe school district soon. So they're working towards that. So we're doing a lot of great things in the community. So.
Jeremy, can you tell us for the AEDs that have been located in our parks externally on city property, what are those locations?
They are at, and I always get the names.
The
wrong because I
Parkview.
call them the names that so it's the pickleball courts.
Off of 10th Avenue North Park.
Yeah, is that the Oak Park? That's Oak Park, at the Jimmy Olsen ball fields, at the Gullickson tennis courts, and at the community park on Quincy Street.
Thank you.
And I use that as kind of a badge of honor because we are the only community in La Crosse County, or in this, I would guess, side of the state that has AEDs that are available 24/7 for public access. So they're outdoors and they can call 911 and they give them the code to open the box. So
Yeah.
our Park and Rec department and the American Legion worked with us to fund those and get them installed, which is huge. So,
Jeremy, if I can just make one
Yes.
comment, just so people are aware, in the winter months, we do remove them. We do work with 911 dispatch because so they don't freeze but as soon as the weather breaks here in the next, I would say, couple of weeks, we will be placing them back out in the boxes and letting 911 dispatch know.
And Jeremy, the reason you got that award is because we got the Heart Safe community designation.
Yep. It was the recognition, not only of just the Heart Safe recognition, but all of the work that we've done in the last couple of years through all of the avenues that we've worked for, the public access AEDs, reaching out. We've really pushed the hands-only CPR in our community because there's a cost to the certified CPR. There's a little bit of a hindrance. People are worried about taking the test, and where we want people to not only be trained, quote unquote, certified, but feel empowered to actually act. There's a large portion of individuals who experience sudden cardiac arrest, and then people don't act because of, they're afraid, they're not qualified, or they haven't used an AED before. So we're trying to break that barrier and make them feel empowered to act, which is a perfect example with the seventh grade Royals basketball team. They didn't hesitate at all, jumped right in. So.
Yeah, this is so great. Thank you. Go ahead, Dan Wick.
And we got to say that without Jeremy's leadership on this, Jeremy's the one that brought this forward. He came to us, we wouldn't be here today without him and his leadership on getting this done. So he deserves a lot of the recognition for the city because of the work he did with it.
Thank you, Jeremy, and all of you who worked toward this. We really do appreciate it. Okay, item D, discussion and possible action regarding contribution to the cost of a study regarding shared fire services with the Village of Homan and the Town of Holland, which is the Homan Area Fire Department. I can start this out and then I'll tip it over to Rick, and we'll see if Chief Floody may also want to say a word. So after our last discussion here, we have met with our partners in the community, our regional partners, a couple different times to try to determine the best course forward. And what you have before you tonight is really where we're at now and what our recommendation is for going forward. We've adjusted the scope of the survey and also the scope of how we're looking at it Really, the study has been amended to really focus on how our two fire departments can work together more to create efficiencies. And that could be, any range of things. But the cost of that, the updated service cost to the city of Onalaska for this would be $25,000. Rick did put a memo in there, and at this point, I'll turn it over to Rick, and then I'll go to Pete, and then we can take questions. Go ahead, Rick.
Thank you, Mayor. Mayor summarized it pretty well. We have continued to have meetings with the four municipalities together. That'd be the town of Holland, village of Holman, town of Onalaska, and the city of Onalaska. And again, through these conversations, kind of tweaked what the scope of services for the study would be. McMain would be conducting the study. I believe the proposal is in your packet as well. So we do believe that this is worthwhile moving forward with for a couple of reasons. And we've talked a little bit about this before as well. With the ever tightening budgets and the lack of resources from the state, we have to look at alternative or creative ways in order to try and either save some money or share services. This is one area where we thought we could look at that. The two fire departments have already been working well together and sharing some things, and Chief Letty can speak to that specifically. But this is another opportunity. And if we don't do this opportunity now, this may not be something that is looked at again for a number of years from now. So I think now is a good time for us to take a look at this, find out what we don't know, and then decide from there, once we have the information, what the next steps might be.
Yeah, and proceeding with this doesn't commit us to anything, but we do think that it is very likely that it will identify ways that we can, literally save money and also work more effectively and provide a higher level of service to our community. But I'll turn it over to Pete then.
Yeah, I think Mayor Smith and City Administrator Niemeyer pretty much hit the nail on the head, but some of those things we've already been working on. We have a joint fire investigation task force with Holman already. That's one of the ways we thought we could commit more resources to the important task of doing the investigation after a structure fire. We work together on training. That's another big thing that Assistant Chief Southworth works with Holman Area Fire Department on. So those are just some of the things. There's more. But really, this is a complex issue. And certainly, I think we've been trying since October, maybe even earlier, having these discussions on where we can, make our service better or see efficiencies. And really, it came down to the fact that I think this can be as complex or as easy as we want it, but we don't know what we don't know. As City Administrator Niemeyer said that before. And we really need the help of the study to figure out which direction we want to go.
Thank you for that, Pete. Okay, I'll open it up to questions from the counselors. If any questions, Rick, go ahead.
If I could, Sabrina Steger would have some input as to how the funding of the study would happen.
Sure. Thank you, Sabrina. I figured someone would ask. I was going to just let them ask. I figured I'd give someone a question. Go ahead, Sabrina.
Thank you. So, there's a couple.
Weird. That's a new one. We have not had that happen before. There was a weird sound.
Is that better?
Yes.
So our financial statement audit is next week. I could go back to 2025 and reserve some of the excess revenues that we had to put towards this. We could put it into the city study fund. So I could do that. That's option one. Option two is we could do a budget amendment for 2026 and take it out and increase a revenue line to support these additional funds. So those are kind of our two options.
Thank you for that. Okay, questions?
Make a motion to.
Oh, okay, Stephen, go ahead.
I'll make a motion to improve the cooperative fire services feasibility study with funds to come from the 2025 excess revenues.
Second. Thank you. We have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Kathy Lohendorf to approve the moving forward with the study at a cost not to exceed $25,000 and the revenue to come from the 2025 budget as Sabrina described. Everyone, okay, for any questions now? Let's
I have a
ask
question.
Diane. Diane, go ahead.
Thank you. I've read everything and listened intensely to what you've just spoken about. Did I miss, originally we were talking about a four-way split, and could someone explain why we're looking at just a two municipality split at this time? Thank you.
And I know that in the conversations when the four municipalities have met, based on this change in the scope of services, we've then revisited how this would be divided amongst the different municipalities. Because of the size of the municipalities and the services that each receive, we felt that the fire departments themselves should split the cost of this. And so that's where we came up with splitting the roughly $50,000 cost of the study, half to the Holman Holland Fire Department and half to the City of Onalaska Fire Department.
Thank you.
Just to kind of tag on to that, I mean, the town of Onalaska doesn't really have a voice in our fire department. They are our customer. They're paying us for a service. So at that point, the outcomes of this, the way we have this structured now, any outcomes of this study are more relevant to the two fire departments than they are to the four municipalities, if that makes sense. I'll let Diane see if Diane, do you feel your question is answered or?
Yes, thank you so much.
Okay, back to Stephen then, Stephen Knott.
Yeah, just one quick question. So I heard that this is going to study to see if there are possible positives, reference efficiencies and response resources, potential cost savings. In all your discussions and research, what are the potential downsides on this? Are there any?
I can start and then you can chime in, others. To me, the potential downside is that some of the opportunities, although it would raise our level of service and create an efficiency, it would cost more. And so I think that this study is going to help give us some more of that information to put it into perspective where we can all make a choice as an elected body if we choose more service, if we choose less cost. I mean, there's things we could do that could save us money. There's so many variables, and it's hard for us as, probably Pete and Jeremy, the fire department people are the best off, but the rest of us, we don't know, haven't been studying in financial detail other fire departments and municipalities and things that they've tried to do and how did they do it. And that's another thing. There's everything that we do, there's a lot of implications. We can't just, all of a sudden have a new collaborative fire department because there's a lot of laws, things we'd have to jump through first, but maybe we could co-locate and remain separate. And there's just so many different variables that to try to sort through that ourselves is nearly impossible. So we want to try to have this firm kind of sort it out for us. Like, what are some things that do make sense? What would be the pluses and the negatives? So complexity, or not wanting to bear extra cost to achieve a higher level of service, I guess. Things like that. Okay, Pete, go ahead. Sorry, I was kind of rambling.
Good. I think for me, so we're covering approximately 25,000 people with roughly 50 square miles. Holman's, covering roughly the less population, but roughly the same, but they are a growing community. We have 4 to 6 firefighters right now that covers that area. Holman has 4. We both need to grow. We're both getting busier. So are there opportunities where we might be able to split that cost if we grow in staff, let's say? Whereas if we're trying to grow together or have more staff separately in 2 different communities, is there an opportunity where we can maybe combine services and share that growth, if that makes sense? So I think that's an efficiency, one of the efficiencies that's in my mind right now.
Yeah. And so to me, the barrier that I'm concerned about is we need more firefighters. We need to try to cover the area better, whether it's our own fire department or working in partnership. But my concern is that no matter how we try to get that, it will still cost us more money that we don't have. So that's my concern, is that we would do the study, find the things, and then we still haven't found it any more money.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Larry Jurassic?
Thank you, Mayor. I understand it's going to be, if we go ahead with this, it'll be 45 days before they can begin, and then another 4 months before they finish it. So what we're looking at.
If that's in the proposal, I don't have that off the top of my head, but if that's what their timeline in the proposal, that sounds about right. I'm sure they have other projects that they're probably working on that might prohibit them from starting right away. But they're aware, they've been in good contact with both the chiefs. And so I think that we'll be able to get started on this pretty quickly.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think another thing about the timeliness is that both our fire department and the Holman Fire Department have recently conducted facility feasibility studies. And so we're really trying to use that to our advantage, because if we wait much, and I understand that you're all supportive, and I'm not trying to convince you, I'm just trying to say, like, this is another reason we have this fresh data from the feasibility study that this McMahon group is going to be able to pull on. And if we say we don't want to do it right now, we want to wait 1 or 2 years, then we're going to have to start all over again with that data to see what our call volume is changed to, because it is not a static situation. Okay. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Kathy?
I just add that, we've been talking about potentially adding a second location for our own use. So it makes sense that we would see if we can partner with our neighbors to maybe share some of that expense and that cost, but then help each other out too. So I'm all for it.
Okay, anyone else? Okay, the motion on the floor is to move forward and to approve the shared fire service study at a cost of $25,000, funded as we described. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. This motion passes unanimously. Just for a heads up, I think Brad Vagut is listening on. We're going to go through the consent agenda, and then we'll do Brad first thing after. So we'll move finance before administrative committee, just so we don't take him by surprise, since he's been patiently waiting for his turn. Okay, next up on the agenda, a recommendation for approval under possible action from the following committees, commissions, boards, and officials. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a council member requests removal, in which event the item will be removed from the consent agenda and considered in the order of business in the non-consent agenda. Are there any items on the consent agenda the councilors would like removed and placed on the non-consent agenda?
I'd like to remove item N as in Nancy.
And that is ordinance 1853, 2026.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. Are there any other items the councilors would like removed? Okay, I'll entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as it stands.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott to approve the consent agenda. It's been seconded by Larry Jurassic. Our new procedure is to approve the consent agenda with a roll call, a vote for clarity. Joanne, will you call the roll?
Alder Lohendorf. Aye. Alder Knott.
Aye.
Alder Benash.
Aye.
Alder Jurassic.
Aye.
Alder Wolf.
Aye.
Thank you. The consent agenda has been approved unanimously. Now, before moving on to the consent agenda, we'll start with, and I understand we have item N in reserve. We'll start with item N, the Finance Committee. Stephen Knott will be leading that section this evening.
Okay, yeah, so we're going to go, as the mayor had mentioned, we're going to go to 9A, which is a report on final interest rates for 2026 capital improvement from debt issuance, and Brad from Baird is online.
All right, thank you. I'll walk through the final interest rates that were locked in last week.
Okay, Brad, let's hold on a second, Brad. We got to get your volume up a little bit. Thank you for waiting. I'm sorry for the delay.
No
But
problem.
it was nice to have a lot of people in the council chambers this evening. Amanda will tell us when she's ready for you to try again.
Okay.
Brad, can you try to turn the volume up on your end, perhaps?
Sure, give me 1 second here.
And that is already better.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, would you like me to begin? Is this fine?
Yep. I think
Okay.
this is great. Thank you so much, Brad.
Sure, no problem. So the city was in the marketplace, in the municipal market last week, Thursday, and we finalized interest rates on three debt issues to fund the city's capital program. I just want to mention that this really shows the importance of the city's practice of using the parameters resolution, and which the parameters resolutions gave us the flexibility to move our intended date to finalize rates from Wednesday of last week to Thursday. Wednesday, when the market opened up, really disjointed. There was a lot of the investors on the sidelines. People weren't putting their money to work, weren't bidding on issues, and it was predominantly because of the conflict in Iran. What we saw by the end of day Wednesday and going into Thursday is that the market had settled back and was becoming more active. We saw buyers returning by Thursday morning. So on Thursday morning, we finalized everything for these three debt issues. And I've got some good news to share on the general obligation notes, which funded the city's levy supported capital program. And there was a piece for the Omni Center. We're finalized at an interest rate of 3.73%. And that's versus the 4.04 we used for planning purposes, and which I presented to the Finance Committee and the Council when we had the initial authorization to proceed. And then on the water and sewer bonds, we locked in at a 3.87%, quite a bit lower than the 4.39% used for planning purposes. And finally, on the stormwater revenue bonds, we have a final interest rate of 4.03%, and that's versus a 4.42%. If we look at the combined principal and interest payments on these three issues, the total that the city will be paying is about $715,000 less than what I had presented at the Finance and the Council meeting. And finally, I also want to report out that Moody's assigned some very good ratings to the city, AA2 for its general obligation debt and for the water and sewer revenue bonds, and a AA3 for the stormwater bonds. All of those ratings are in line with what we had expected when we met with Moody's. So overall, a very successful set of financings. If anyone has questions, I can certainly answer questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Brad before we proceed to the resolution? It's very loud in here now. Did you have a question? Oh, I thought you were raising your hand. Okay, I don't think we have any questions. So I think we can go ahead and proceed to the resolution then.
Okay, 9B is resolution 10-2026, authorizing the issuance and establishing parameters for the sale of not to exceed $7 million in general obligation refunding bonds. And I'll move to approve.
We have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Kathy Lohendorf. Is there any discussion? Sabrina.
Thank you. I was just going to add that this is a resolution so we can refund, I guess it is refund, our bonds that we currently have that are coming due that are callable. Brad did give a presentation at ANF and this did get approved. At ANF, we just moved it forward since it's dealing with finances to the non-consent.
Thank you. Any other questions? Jim Benesh?
Just so I understand a little bit better, I thought I remember reading something in the Ed and financial meeting that the savings that we would make with the interest rates would pay for the principal. I remember reading something about that. Does that have anything to do with the bonding that we're doing right now? Or is that something different?
Nope, that's different. This is just for the refunding bonds. We would have savings of approximately $150,000 in interest savings. I should say net present value interest savings. If the rates are in a good place in June. If they're not with this parameters resolution, we can hold and either come back to the council with, you know, the markets looking better maybe in September or whatever that may be. So this just gives us the opportunity to refund the bonds if interest rates are promising in July.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions? Okay, the resolution on the floor, 10-2026, the motion is to approve. All those in favor? We'll have a roll call because that's what Joanne said, just in time. So a vote of yes is to approve the resolution.
Alder Nash,
Yes.
Alder Lohendorf. Yes. Alder Knott,
Aye.
Alder Jurassic,
Aye.
Alder Wolf.
Aye.
Thank you. That resolution passes unanimously. Thank you, Brad, for coming in. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Or not coming in, but tuning in.
Next on the Finance Committee, there, Mayor, is the amended 2026 fee schedule. I understand that.
I think you skipped the vouchers.
Oh, yes, we did. I'm sorry. 9C, vouchers. The vouchers that we have are in total of $3,196,110.09, and I move to approve.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Larry Jurassic to approve the vouchers as described. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Amanda has a question.
No, finish this one.
Okay. Motion passes unanimously. Thank you. Amanda?
Yeah, Your Honor, I apologize. I was unaware that we were going to go out of order tonight. If it's at all possible, I'd like to resume the normal order of the agenda and then address 9D after we address 8A.
Sure, that is no problem at all. Thank you for calling that out. We just did that because of Brad waiting and then the people in the room and et cetera. Okay, we'll go back up to the top then on the non-consent agenda. Item 7 is a recap of items pulled from the consent agenda. There was one, it was item N in the administrative committee. I'll turn it over to you, Stephen, for that, I guess.
Yeah, so the, what this does is it codifies more definitively the duty of council members in closed session and puts a little bit more teeth behind it. That's my understanding, the main reason of the for this update to our code.
And it passed through.
Passed unanimously.
Nan, and you're making a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Second.
A motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Larry Jurassic. City Attorney Amanda Jackson, do you want to comment on that or? Not really?
No, I mean, I think in general, the ordinance speaks for itself. This was something that came out of the clerk's listserv that many municipalities have that we do not. And so in reviewing different ordinances, we felt this was a good addition to our ordinances.
Thank you. Does the council have any other questions or comments regarding this item?
I do.
Okay, Diane, go ahead.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm the one who originally pulled this. I was going to respectfully ask that perhaps this be considered right after this. Pardon me, I'm looking off at 3 different screens since I don't have a paper copy, so bear with me. I was hopeful that we would be able to the council would possibly consider dealing with this after 11C, the administrator's report, and we talked about the council handbook, but I think I'll just go forward and make my comments. I did watch the ANF meeting online a couple times. I just have a number of questions about this. One would be, I show that this is for council members. Is there anything in our handbook or anything we have for ordinances as in that relates to all electeds, i.e. 6 council members, the position of mayor, our elected judge, and possibly what about our committee board or committee board? I know there's another one, commission members. Are we addressing them anywhere in this? Because all I see is that we're just talking about council. That's my first question.
Okay, Rick, do you want to speak to that? Otherwise, Amanda, whichever, at your discretion.
I mean, I'll start, but I know Amanda can speak to this probably more so than I. When it comes to the reference to common council, of course, that includes the mayor as well, too. The mayor is considered a member of common council. I don't know that it necessarily includes the judge, specifically the way it is written, but I'll let our legal counsel address that. When it comes to boards and commissions and councils, or boards, commissions, and committees, I believe in our handbook, we make everything applicable to them, but again, I'll leave this up to Amanda to go into more detail on that.
Yeah, I mean, as Rick stated, the mayor would be included as a member of council. I will be honest, I don't remember a time when our municipal judge has participated in a closed session, but never say never. That could happen. It's a little bit trickier with commission members, and board members. There are a few that do go into closed session. They're not elected, and so our ability to sort of regulate them is a little bit different. I'm not aware of anyone that has quite the same duty as far as commissioners and other board members, but that's, certainly something I could look into. I think that would be a separate section. It wouldn't necessarily amend this section. So also that's something that we could do after we pass this. I don't know that it would necessarily preclude the passage of this ordinance.
And thank you. So my next question would be, as I read it, trying to get it in front of me, it talks about, oh gosh, let's see. Trying to find it again. Somewhere, I think it's one of the last paragraphs, it talks about the fines and such. I guess my next question would be, who is going to be the judge and jury on this? Is council going to do this? Is it going to be maybe our city administrator and the clerk, or legal and clerk? How would that work? Because I know when there's an issue, for example, with police and fire commission, there's an actual jury trial, not jury trial, but it goes to trial at City Hall and that kind of thing. So I thought it'd be good to know in the future, if we were to encounter this, I'd rather that we know up front what the process is versus, well, we don't know, and I just think that it would be good to maybe build into this ordinance, who would be the people, what is the process?
Yeah, so this would be no different than an enforcement action under any other ordinance. It would involve a citation issued by our police department to the individual who violated the ordinance. Obviously, we would need to have a level of comfort that we had enough evidence to support the citation and conviction thereof. If the individual that received a citation wanted to challenge their citation, they would do that through the regular municipal court process. If they took it to trial, that would be a trial here in our Cooley Region Joint Municipal Court. Because we would be dealing with a common council member, we probably, would look at the possibility of, removing ourselves due to conflict of interest. And so it would probably be prosecuted by another jurisdiction's municipal prosecutor. But basically it would be a municipal court trial to determine, guilt or not guilt. If that was, what the defendant wished. Otherwise, as all citations are payable to the city, if they were not going to contest it, it would just be paid here to the Cooley Region Joint Municipal Court and the Finance Department.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments on this item? Okay, the motion on the floor is to approve ordinance 1853-2026. All those do you have to vote by roll call for this one? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. That motion passes unanimously. Thank you, and thank you for that additional information. Okay, now we'll go to item A, administration. Stephen?
Yes, this is ordinance 1845-2026 to amend section 13.02.68.u of Title 13 of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Onalaska related to temporary storage units. This was referred to Common Council, did not have a vote in the committee. Do you want me to discuss why it was referred, or do you want me to just go and try to go to motion first?
Let's do a motion to put it on the floor and then we'll have discussion.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Kathy Lohendorf to approve. Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, so the discussion on this I think that the members of the committee were in agreement with the intent behind this of not wanting to have folks have long-term dumpsters in their driveways or using temporary storage facilities for lodging or having them, there throughout the entire winter or what have you, again, sitting somewhere on the property where it's, not helping property values in the area, what have you. So the discussion all resolved around, are we really going to charge people who are just moving into the city or just moving out of the city to have a moving pod or something like that? I mean, I know I had mentioned, I'm not comfortable with saying, welcome to Onalaska, now pay us for the privilege. So the question is, can we have an exception, in which case it might need to be amended? I know Kathy had brought up, maybe we just show proof that they're either moving in or moving out, and that could be a lease, it could be a purchase of sale for a house. I would also add, now that I thought about it more, perhaps military orders. Somebody's being told they have to move. So there could be ways, and those could be used as, these are examples of things you could provide. There's probably other ways to do it, and I would trust the staff of being able to say, yeah, obviously this is clearly somebody moving in or moving out, and not somebody who's trying to get additional storage and get around our normal ordinances by having a pod sit there for 6 months. And if that's the case, I think we had discussed that they could still get the permit and have that mandatory, but we could waive the fee if it's somebody moving in or moving out. And that's where we stood on that. And I could certainly turn it over to Katie. I know that she was pretty involved in that too, or Amanda, either one.
Yeah, so I think Stephen did kind of a good job of recapping the
Yeah.
conversation that was had at the committee level. So maybe if Amanda, you want to go into like the purpose of this ordinance from the staff viewpoint, or summarize it. Or,
Katie could do that. I was going to give you my recommendation.
oh, okay, go ahead, no problem.
My recommendation would be that I think that that's a valid concern, but I also think that when you make people produce things like a potential lease or a home sale, or that's a frustrating process for both city staff and for the individual seeking the permit. I also think the bulk of residential use, given that we've restricted the number of days that you can utilize these, will likely be for moving. So my recommendation would be for the council, if that is a concern they have, to consider reducing from 60 days to 30 days and simply ending the sentence after less than 160 square feet in footprint and removing the need for a permit at all. It would relieve the burden on city staff. It would allow individuals, 30 days to pack their stuff up, whether they're coming or whether they're going. There would be no, fine or fee. If somebody violates that, we have found that people in Onalaska, know their ability to issue a concern to the city and call us. And so I think that would be the easiest solution.
Amanda, that change that you were recommending, what section is that in?
So it's section number 3.
Okay.
And admittedly, that is a very long run-on sentence because we're talking about all the zoning districts involved. But where it says 1 temporary storage unit is allowed per parcel for up to, I would reduce it to 30 days from 60 days in a calendar year, less than 160 square feet in footprint, period. And then I would strike with an issued temporary storage unit permit.
Would this allow us to do fines for somebody who is violating this?
Yep.
And what would that fall under? I don't see that in here.
I mean, that would be a violation of the UDC, and so there's a section addressing that, and then we would have a corresponding on the, I think we already have it on the schedule of deposits, is a proposed fee for violation of the ordinance.
Okay, so I will move to amend ordinance 1845-2026, specific to section 3, to say within, where it says within is allowed per parcel for up to 60 days, to change that to 30 days in a calendar year, less than 160 square feet in footprint, period. And then temporary storage units may only be installed on an approved hard surface on private property as listed.
Okay, Stephen Nott has made an amendment. Is there a second to the amendment?
I'll second it.
Larry Jurassic has seconded the amendment. Is there discussion?
I have a quick question.
Go ahead, Diane.
Thank you, Mayor. This may be silly, it may not be necessary, whatever, but I would just put forth for staff to think about it, and if they think it wouldn't be necessary, I'm perfectly fine with that too. But I guess my one quick question would be, has staff ever thought about obviously there would be pitfalls, I can already think of a few, but has staff ever thought about working with area realtors and title companies? More of an informative thing. It could be a handout or something. But I don't know whether they would be interested in doing anything of that. But I think the more that we can communicate with people, especially coming in, and be more welcoming. I had thought when a few years ago with a previous older person, we were talking about maybe doing like a joint packet when anyone new moved to town, but it never got off the ground. But I just think it would be, I used to be president of Welcome Wagon Club years ago when I came here over 30 years ago. And just kind of like something welcoming. A lot of people call me when they first move here. They want to know where they vote, or they want to know where they, when is garbage day, recycling day. It's just a thought. I just didn't know whether or not staff would ever consider something
Point
like
of
that.
order, I don't know that that's on the agenda.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. All right. Kathy Lohendorf.
Sorry, I just wanted to clarify. So we're adjusting it from 60 days to 30 days, and we're not going to charge a fee for the permit. Okay,
Correct, but if they violate, go beyond 30 days, they can be fined.
got it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions or comments on this item? Jim Benash.
Well, I read the minutes from the last, when they had the last meeting for this, and read what Stephen had to say. I'm still not sure I completely understand or agree with what's here. Guess I'd like to see it again, but 30 days seems like a good idea. I agree that not having somebody pay to be able to move here, I agree with that too. But after 30 days, and we originally had 60 days, but what if they can't, if somebody can't, the one pod gets here and another one doesn't for a short period of time, and then you got another one coming, do you need another permit? Do you need another 30 days? I mean, they don't always come all at once. So I like the idea of 60 days, and if you needed longer to get a permit.
Okay, let's go to Katie first and then Amanda.
So only one pod is allowed. You're not allowed to have more than one, the way the ordinance is written. And if another one were to show up on the property, then city staff would inform them via letter and give them an opportunity to get that second storage pod removed. If in fact 30 days goes by, our property maintenance standards of when we become aware that a pod is there, the clock starts ticking. After 30 days, they would be notified if it was not yet removed that they have so much time to remove the pod.
Okay, Jim, you got another question or?
Just kind of thinking.
Okay, so what we have first before us is the amendment, which is changing it from 60 to 30 days. Are we ready to vote on that?
Striking the need for a permit.
And striking the need for a permit. Okay, so we'll vote first on the amendment. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no.
No.
Okay, so we have 4 yes and 1 no, so the amendment does pass. And now we are back to the motion, the motion as amended for the ordinance. Do we have any further discussion on that? Okay, so a yes vote would approve this ordinance as amended, and I'll just ask Joanne to do the roll call.
Alder Lohendorf. Aye. Alder Wolf.
Aye.
Alder Jurassic.
Aye.
Alder Knott.
Aye.
Alder Benash.
Hey.
Okay, the voting is 4 to 1. This ordinance does pass. Thank you. Now we are back to the Finance Committee, item 9D, the amended fee schedule.
Which will have to be changed. So, but yeah, I'll go ahead and turn this over to Amanda. She can discuss this real quick. It shouldn't be too long. Yeah.
Sorry, for whatever reason, the link is not
You would,
working.
yeah, 13U2 would still be applicable, the 500.
Okay, so we're turning to the fee schedule. That's item 9D. In our packet, we have a memo from Katie Aspenson with the proposed fee schedule.
I can try to address it.
It's page 67. Oh, sorry. I didn't mean to come out so loud. It's page 67 in the agenda packet. That helps. There we go. All right. So I'll turn to Katie or Amanda if you want to say anything about this.
Yeah, I mean, and so based on that ordinance as amended, we would want to strike the section 130368U3 temporary storage units, that $50 per TSU, as it would no longer be applicable, as a permit would no longer be required. There would still be the $500 per temporary storage unit for those commercial industrial use temporary storage units. So.
Okay, so maybe we should go ahead and get a motion on the floor and then we can have discussion.
I'll move to approve the proposed 2026 fee as published with the understanding that we are striking 13.03.68.U.3 temporary storage units residential use.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Kathy Lohendorf. Is there any other discussion on this item? Diane, did you have any questions or comments?
I'm good. Thank you.
Okay. All right. That being said, the motion on the floor is to approve.
Mayor,
Oh, go ahead, Larry. Sorry, Larry Jurassic.
sorry, what was the fee before? Was it always been 500?
They weren't allowed before.
There wasn't an allowance for them.
Ooh, okay.
So what we did in the ordinance was we described under what circumstances we would allow these. And now we're setting the fee for them.
All right, thank you, Mayor.
You're welcome. Okay, so the motion on the floor is to amend or approve the amendment to the fee schedule as described with just the one item being added. All those in favor, please say aye.
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 Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Thank you for that, Stephen. Now we're moving on to item 10, the planning director report. Katie Aspenson, our first item is resolution 9-2026. This is a final resolution to vacate and discontinue portions of Westwood Lane, Carefree Drive, Holly Drive, Hilltop Drive, Overhill Drive. This is located in section 29, township 17, range 7 west of the city of Onalaska in La Crosse County, Wisconsin. Katie, will you introduce this item to the council, please?
Thank you, Mayor. Back in January, the Common Council held a public hearing related to this vacation and discontinuance process that was put on hold during a development agreement with the applicant. As the preliminary plat has been approved by the Common Council, we are bringing back before you the final resolution to vacate and discontinue the lands to facilitate a new residential subdivision. Thank you.
Thank you for that.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor by Stephen Knott. It's been seconded by Larry Jurassic to approve resolution 9-2026. Is there any discussion? Not hearing or seeing any. All in favor of approving resolution 9-2026, please say yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Sorry. Thought I'd change it up on you. Okay, any opposed, say no. Is something wrong, Amanda? Okay. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Amanda.
Your Honor, we can skip 10B. You ultimately already approved that under the administrative, and so it was on here inadvertently in duplicate.
Okay, so we can just move on then. Very good. We like to hear that. Any other ones? No, I'm just kidding. Oh, wait, no, city administrator. Item 11, city administrator report. I'll just turn it over to you, Rick. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Again, in front of you is the report, the monthly update report. Again, just touch on them briefly. I think you may already know, we did choose a consultant to do the fire protection assessment fee process to look at that. We did a kickoff meeting this afternoon to start that project off, and so that is up and running. RFP is hopefully going to be out by the end of this week for the council chambers technology upgrades. So once that goes out, once the proposals come in, then we'll review those and we'll go from there. But that hopefully will be out by the end of the week. The Xcel energy update. So Alex Lewick, I know him professionally and personally. He reaches out once a year just to give an update as to what they're doing around our area. So I put in there the information that he provided regarding the new facility that should be operational around November, December of this year. The substation on Second Avenue is no longer in operation, and they plan to remove that equipment in the near future. Not sure what that means when in near future, but that'll be coming up as well. And then he also wanted to let us know that the microgrid, you may recall there was a kind of a ribbon cutting of sorts a while back. That project is slated to be done in this fall, so that'll be up and running as well. Update on the police chief recruitment. We reposted the job posting, and applications will be accepted through April 2nd. Planning continues for 175th celebration. I've indicated in there about the different items that we're talking about. That'll be on June 27th. Again, just solidifying that. We meet about every 2 weeks and getting things squared away. There are businesses who are sponsoring various portions of it, so I'm looking forward to that event as well. You may recall last year we had an Onalaska Community Night at the Loggers. They reached out and want to do that again. It was very successful last year. And so we were planning on doing that on June 25th. Thought the timing of it would be good for the June 27th event for celebrating the 175th. There will be more information to come on that, but it is an opportunity to showcase our youth baseball and softball participants in our Park and Rec programs. And then the meetings and events were in there as well.
Thank you for that, Rick. Can you just go ahead and continue?
Yes.
Sorry, go ahead, Stephen.
Can't pass up the self-aggrandizement. I just want to remind that last year at the Onalaska Community Night at the Loggers, that the announcement when I threw my pitch was right down the middle.
Do they say that every time?
They did.
It was close.
That's what they said.
That's what they said. Yes, exactly. Item B, we are going to be asking that actually be moved from the agenda for this evening. We are talking about having a special council meeting. And so we would like to see if people are available on Monday, sometime from 3:30 or thereafter, to have this. This really should be a closed session item. And since we were not able to do that based on the timing of when some information came to light, that's the plan of what we'd like to do. So we would be looking to see if members are available. Again, ideally Monday after 3:30. We could look at Tuesday if we need to, but I thought Monday worked better for some of the staff.
And you can just let us know after the meeting. You don't have to respond right now.
I'm available either of those days.
I'm good.
Yep.
And is there a preference on time? That might be easy to do when you're here right now.
When I was asked, I said, as long as it's in the afternoon, I should be okay.
Sure.
So this would be on the 16th?
Correct.
Didn't we have a time on that? Was it 3? Can't remember.
And I just, is there a time constraints on anybody here? That's what I guess I'm looking for first. I mean, if we did, let's say 4 o'clock, if we did 4 o'clock, does that work for everybody?
That's fine with me.
Diane, does that work for you as well?
I could make it work if I have to, yeah.
Okay. So unless there's any objection, we will get an agenda prepared for March 16th at 4 p.m. Great, thank you. Next is the Common Council Handbook. You all have the copy of the handbook. There was an email that was sent out showing what changes had been made since our last meeting, which were very minimal. So now is the time for any further discussion in regards to what the handbook is including or not including, or any other conversation you want to have about the handbook.
Okay, does anyone have any comments or questions about the Common Council Handbook? We'll start with Jim Benash.
I made a reference to it here. It has to do with that section where the city administrator and the city attorney can remove and, oh, here we go. On page 80, page 10, place it an actionable item on a council agenda, last sentence. An actionable item recommended for placement on the agenda may be removed from the agenda by joint agreement of the city administrator and city attorney. I would like to add for cause and explain the cause. Just to be able to remove it just for any particular reason, I think you need a reason. So I would prefer that.
Page 10, what number are you on?
Page 10, 11,
11.
last sentence.
Got it. Thank you.
Otherwise, I think it's fine.
Okay, Amanda Jackson.
I don't have an issue with that. The only thing I was going to add was that this language, as written, was in the original handbook that's currently in existence right now, with the exception that actually, I believe it's myself, the administrator, or the mayor individually can remove an item placed on the agenda. We felt that that it should take 2 people to remove something off an agenda. And so that was where we came up with the joint agreement of the city administrator and city attorney. And I think I had mentioned at the last meeting, I think, for cause could be a little bit hard to define, but I mean, it would take something where we would be concerned about the legality of the, of the actionable item, or something fairly extreme for those 2 positions to remove something.
Okay, Stephen Knott.
So I think the key here is for an actionable item. Because for any 2 alders, for instance, can put an item on the agenda, but that normally would not be actionable. That would have to come through the staff, I would think. Is that correct? Because what I wouldn't want is to create condition to where 2 elected officials say, we need to discuss item, this topic, and then the city administrator and the attorney can say, well, you're not going to. So.
Yeah, usually like a discussion would not be an actionable item. So like if 2 of you said we want to put the UTV or, the possibility of a UTV ordinance and have more information next month, that wouldn't be an actionable item that we would remove. But if you said, we want to ban the color blue in City Hall and we want to, to do that. And we had concerns over the legality of banning the color blue, and obviously I'm being a little facetious here, but that might be something where, we would have a conversation.
So that's what I was saying. So actionable is the key piece here. So yeah, for me, I'm good with it. Yeah. And I have no problem adding for cause too, but you'd have to define that. So yeah.
Okay, you don't think it's implied in the wording that is in the updated version?
I don't know.
That is the whole point of having 2 people, but not the mayor.
I don't have any problem with it being codified that it has to be for cause. I don't know.
Okay.
Uh,
I think Rick has a comment.
Yeah, the for cause, while again, in and of itself, I don't have a problem with. My concern is, okay, if you have a for cause and someone disagrees with it, what do we do at that point? Are we going to have a hearing in front of the Common Council, in front of ANF? You know, who gets to make the decision whether or not someone was right or someone's wrong? So I want to be careful that we aren't creating something that at the end of the day, we're going to spend a month and a half trying to figure out. And in the meantime, whatever the business is that we need to address doesn't get addressed. So again, that's just an extreme example, but that's when I hear for cause, I think to myself, I'm like, who's going to make that determination? How does that happen kind of a thing? So
Well, and this is just a handbook. It's not an ordinance
agreed,
as well. so-
agreed. But again, without some parameters and how that's going to work, yeah, that would be
Yeah.
just my concern about it.
Okay, Larry Jurassic?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm understanding that this would be removed prior to it even coming to the council?
That would be the
Yeah.
point of it.
Agenda-
That would be the point of it.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the point of the
Yep.
rule.
That's all I heard.
Okay, Jim Benesh?
This is my second time.
That's okay. I didn't start counting yet, and everyone didn't even get a chance. Diane can't even get a word in edgewise.
All I'm interested in is with an explanation. That's all.
Mhm.
Just something in there, say, no, you can't have it on there because of this. So if you have the city attorney and the city administrator say, no, we're not doing this because of this reason.
Mhm.
That's all.
And it could be something as simple, sorry, it could be something as simple as the city attorney and the city administrator, after consultation with the council member or alder, can remove or whatever that language is. So that way there's at least a guarantee that there would be that conversation as to why it can't happen kind of a thing.
That I appreciate that.
Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. Okay, Amanda, and then Diane, you're in the wings.
Okay, great. Thank you.
I was just going to offer, I mean, similar to what Rick said, or, we could say, by a joint agreement of the city administrator and city attorney, which shall be communicated, to the council member or the council president, you could add something there.
So will that come out on the agenda at all then? Or
No.
will it be Removed. Okay.
You wouldn't have, I mean, theoretically, you wouldn't even know that it had been proposed to be on the agenda unless the counselor, the alder that wanted it on the agenda told you, which they
Two
could.
councilors.
Two alders.
Two alders,
Okay, Diane, are you ready?
Yes, thank you, Your Honor. So I understand where Alder Benesh is coming from, and I appreciate Alder not bringing up that it is for an actionable item, which to me is really the loaded question here is that it's actionable. If someone just wants to go ahead and comment on something or maybe entice council to maybe think about something, in the meantime, but they just put out a suggestion, they can certainly do that. It's not actionable, at least at that meeting. I personally prefer like it's reading right now, whereas it's the city attorney and city administrator and not the position of mayor, mainly because I think it keeps politics out of it, and we're just looking at the legalities of it. And one last thing I would add, at least for this one item, would be if someone really felt strongly enough and legal had a concern about it, I would venture to guess that if they want to go ahead and maybe say something under public input, they could certainly do that also. I mean, that would be one out if someone felt that strongly that they needed to express themselves in some way. It may not be advisable, but the way I understand it, it would be the right if they wanted to add something under public input. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Diane. Okay, any other questions or comments regarding the handbook?
I do have a couple.
Go ahead.
Thank you. I thought I had passed this on to someone after the last meeting. I thought that was the suggested way to go if someone had any questions or add-ons or whatever after the last meeting. One was, I know it's been a talk in the past, and I thought we had resolved this a while ago. I thought the council president was supposed to be noted as a sergeant at arms. And if they are, if legal agrees with that, then I think it would be good to go ahead. What is the role of the council president? I don't know if Amanda has any thoughts on that.
Okay, we'll defer to Amanda for a response.
I think, more often than not, the mayor has acted as the sergeant in arms, just as the chair of the meeting, and that is sort of the natural role for that. We did not specifically call that position out in here. The sergeant in arms is not something that is often, we are not a community that frequently uses that. Most of our stuff tends to be more, parliamentarian point of order. I am open to adding that if you feel strongly about it.
Not necessarily. I think I'm more, I guess it'd be just really good to know. And I don't know whether it's in this handbook or I've read it somewhere else. To me, it makes sense that whoever's the chair, it typically are the ones who performs the duty of sergeant of arms. But I know there was talk in years past about our city attorney would be that position. So it's kind of been all over the place, and I thought it'd just be kind of nice to say, at least a note, like, what is the plan going forward? Establish it, since it's a topic we have right now. If there's no support for adding it, I certainly understand, but I thought that was one thing that we should just maybe clear up now.
Okay, does anyone want to respond to that, or?
If we're going to add it back in, I think it makes most sense that the chair of a committee would also act as the sergeant in arms. It's their committee, they can control it. Obviously, there's legal precedence on what is enforceable and what's not. You have that on the rules of the meeting. Example, insults are allowed. In fact, we can't prohibit them, but you can't slander, you can't threaten, things of that nature. So if something is going down that path, I personally think it's probably on the chair's shoulders to enforce that.
And it would just be nice to kind of have some, decision. So we all know what it is. I know, but a lot of us, on a rare occasion, someone may say point of order, and I think that's very appropriate. Next question I had would be, I know I had brought it up the last time about, I think at the last meeting, it was asked, was there anything else we wanted to add or anything? And I had brought up, and I don't know if I've seen anything added, and that is, the role of the council, the role of the council, and about working with constituents. I know it calls out the mayor, but it doesn't talk about, that's probably 80% of my job, quite frankly, at least for me personally. If you don't want us working on behalf of constituents, I'm more than happy to give it to the mayor.
I think isn't there a section on that? I don't have it in front of me, but I'll let Amanda respond to that. Just give us a second here.
Sure.
Diane, if you just pause a second,
sure.
Amanda is going to say something.
Yeah, I guess, we felt like that was addressed under the communications. So section 7, which begins on page 14 and goes into page 15, where it talks about, interaction with the public. You're there to represent them, both in formal and daily life on the street. It talks about, how to handle enforcement issues. It talks about how, often all you need to do is listen, to be careful about making representations, but, often people just want someone to talk to. We talk about trying to avoid duplicate or conflicting responses, so talking to each other or contacting the administrator. If there's something you think we're missing in here, I think we're open to adding to it. But I think when we went back and reviewed it, we felt like it was somewhat addressed.
Diane, are you seeing that section?
Yes, in the future, regarding this handbook, if we could talk about the, instead of the actual page of the document, if we could, oh, I see, it's on the other side too. I always look at the packet page number versus the other. For at least for me, it'd be so much easier. People reference the actual packet page number. Do you see, Amanda, do you see the word constituent anywhere in there as it's addressed to alderpersons and the role that they perform?
I mean, I guess we don't specifically use the word constituent. You know, we talk about the public, which, you know, I think applied the public as in your constituents, but if you prefer that terminology, we can use that terminology.
I mean, to me, I mean, that's part of my problem is that the public wants to talk to me and I represent a third of the city. And I've had to, the last couple of years especially, you know, remind people if it's a quick question I can answer, I'm more than happy to, but typically it hasn't been for the last few years at least. And so I just always try to educate people who are their electeds and phone numbers and contacts. And in fact, I just have kind of a canned email that I can just paste just to aid in the rapidity of it. But
okay, Diane, hold on a second here.
Sure.
We have a couple people that want to chime in. Okay, Rick, did you want to go first? And then Stephen, were you?
Sure. In regards to the constituent, if you look at the section under section 7, communication, which is right above the interaction with public, it does talk about an alderperson and then proper use of email, social media, and protocols for engaging with constituents and staff. And then that goes through the following on there as well. So it is addressed in there. Again,
Okay.
as Amanda indicated too, if there's something more that you're looking to express, we could talk about that, but it does talk about it in that section as well.
And
Okay,
Rick,
then
what page number was that? Because
Um,
you said all that and I
page-
still didn't know where I was.
Yep, page 89, right above the interaction with the public. There's
Thank you.
shows
Got it.
section 7. Yep.
Thank you.
Okay, and then Diane, I'll come back to you, but let
Sure.
me let Stephen make a comment and also Amanda.
Yeah, I'm good with as it is, but there's also, if you look at packet 7, page 76, page 1 of the handbook under responsibilities of public officials, there's a very brief sentence that concludes that paragraph. And that says the public interest must be their primary concern. So that combined with under communication, I'm fine with it as is.
Okay, Amanda?
I guess I was just going to call out on the top of that page 15, which of course I left now. That second paragraph does say, you know, going back to avoid duplicate or conflicting responses before answering a specific constituent request, council members should contact the administrator, their other district council member, applicable staff to see if a response has already been provided or is in the process of being prepared. Which, you know, I think goes directly to Diane's point related, you know, to making sure you're responding to your constituents.
Okay, back to you,
That's okay.
Diane.
Okay, thank you. I think I just have 1 or 2 left. I think it's on, I'm trying to find where is the role of the council president? Wasn't that early on? That's what I'm looking for right now.
It is on page 4 of the handbook, page 79 of the pamphlet or of the packet.
Thank you so much. I thought it said in here, oh, wait a minute. I thought it said in here, oh, maybe it's under compensation? Because it said that it was $100 a month, and that is not true. I mean, it started out at $100, but since then it's been, if the council approves it, it's by COLA. And I think the COLA's hit at least one time, if not twice. So I just had a concern whether or not we're calling out $100 and that is not the amount.
That changes by resolution.
Right.
Okay.
And I'm just not fine, but I know it was on here before when
Yeah, it's under compensation. We can adjust that.
Okay. Let's see. And is the intent to share this, because it used to be called Rules of the Common Council and its committees, subcommittees. I'm wondering, are we looking to also share this document with people, you know, committee members on committees, commissions, and boards?
I think that a fair amount of this is not necessarily applicable to your average volunteer. And so we could look at maybe having a reduced either a reduced version or an alternate version, just sort of pulling out those sections we feel are really relevant to committees and commissions and board members. I think they would benefit from some of the parliamentary procedure information, Robert's Rules of Order, and just sort of some of that basic information, but maybe don't need quite this in-depth of a handbook.
Okay, I'm good with that. That's all I have, Your Honor. Thank you.
Okay, any other comments regarding the handbook? Okay, do we actually need to approve this?
Yes.
Yes, okay. I guess we should have had a motion on the floor during the discussion.
And I will move to approve with the understanding that Jim Manesh is concerned about providing reason for removing an agenda item. Correct?
And I will fix the compensation.
And then are we adding the sergeant at arms?
Yes, we'll add that under the chairs. So we will compensation, sergeant at arms, and then notification.
Okay.
Second. Okay, we have a motion on the floor by Stephen Nod. It's been seconded by Kathy Lohendorf to approve the Common Council handbook with the 4 changes that were just summarized. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, say no. Motion carries unanimously. Thank you. Back to you, Rick.
Thank you. So the next item on the agenda is the presentation regarding the workplace culture assessment. And as Amanda's getting that ready, I can just start. As you all know, we've been going through this process now since early-ish 2025. And while I've been updating you that we've been going through the process, I don't know that you've all received any specific information as to what that process has looked like. You do have a copy of the PowerPoint presentation in front of you, so you can look at that as we go along. So the first thing is why did we do the culture assessment in the first place? I remember it was probably now maybe a year and a half, almost 2 years ago. There was a conversation in regards to the wage review that we are currently doing. And I remember one of the comments that was made by an alder at that point in time was, while compensation is important, let's start looking at other ways that maybe we can find things for employees that will make them want to stay, essentially. And so one of them was just looking at, I came across this at a conference one time and I thought it was interesting. So I did some reaching out and got in touch with people. And so we did this assessment as kind of a tool to see where we're at. I've listed on there the benefits of the assessment, recruitment and retention. We talk about that a lot. This kind of a study will help with that. Having a good culture attracts people, makes people stay. And so maybe we can become that employer of choice when people are looking for someplace to go. Doing the assessment itself kind of establishes, I shouldn't say kind of, it does establish what is that baseline of the culture that we have here at the City of Onalaska. We can't necessarily do anything to quote unquote improve the culture until we know where we're at in the first place. It does identify our strengths that we can continue to build upon, and it also highlights opportunities that we have for growth. So there we go. So it has a number of different benefits. Again, I don't think any of that is probably new to all of you. But then it also gives employees a voice. It gives them an opportunity to be involved with what does the City of Onalaska look like? Where do we want to go to? And so that's why it's important, I think, that we involve staff along the way. And then it creates those shared values and expected behaviors. I'm going to touch more on this as we get further into the presentation, as that was part of the process. And then it just provides us with action items. What can we do to make people feel that the culture here at the City of Onalaska is the best that it can be? So looking back at what was the process in regards to this assessment process. So what I call the phase 1 process was we hired Neil Zigerlicki. I think you're all aware of that. He has a company called Full Court Vision. So I'd met with him. I'd heard he has done this kind of work. And so I met with him to talk about what would this look like. And ultimately, at the end of the day, what it looked like is we ended up having 2 groups. We had our department head group, and then we had an employee group. The employee group was made up of employees of anywhere from 1 to 3 individuals from each department based on their size. Once we had those employees in place, then Neil met with first the department heads, had a 2.5-hour meeting with them to talk about things. And again, we'll get into more detail in a moment. After that 2.5 hour meeting, he then did a one-on-one follow-up with the department heads for anywhere from 15 to 30 minutes, just to capture anything that maybe wasn't talked about or something that they had thought about after the fact. He gathered that information, and then what he did is he met with the employee group to have a very similar conversation in a group setting for about the 2.5 hours. They met here at City Hall, and they went through the, again, very similar, bless you, processes that we did. So that is just a general overview of what that initial process looked like. But through that process, staff established the values and expected behaviors that we here at the city believe that we should be looking at. And so if you look at the next page, that talks about those are the values and behaviors that were established primarily by the department head group, but with input from the employees as well too, as what we felt embodied a good workplace culture. And I'll give you a moment just to take a look at them. I don't know that I need to read them all to you, but it gives the values and behaviors along with what we defined as the, what we said was the definition of each of those. So I'll give you just a moment to take a look at those. And so once these values and behaviors were established, each of those two groups rated the values and behaviors on a scale of 1 to 10. 1 being we're not doing so well, and 10 we're doing really well on that particular value or behavior across the city. So if you look at the next slide then, so this is the department head group assessment of those 6 values and behaviors and where they fell. Again, I'm not going to read those to you. You can re-see what the values are right there. And now if you look at the employee group, they did the same assessment on the same values and behaviors, and you can see what their assessment was on those values and behaviors as well. To make it easy, I did put one in there that shows what the comparison is, so it's a little easier to look at them side by side. And really what this comes down to is you see that there were some that were pretty close in regards to the values that both groups put on, and then there were some that were a little bit further apart. Looking at, and I'm just picking on the bottom 3 at the moment, keep in mind what the bottom 3 are, because as we get further into this presentation, there's some additional information that we'll talk about those as well. So that was what I call phase 1, so to speak. So now I'm going to move forward now to getting ready for Staff Success Day. Staff Success Day we have every November, what we have had in the past November, and I had met with an individual to be a potential speaker for Staff Success Day, Melissa Klein. I think you all may have met her at one point in time. And in talking with her about what the topic would be that she would speak on at Staff Success Day, I mentioned that we were doing a workplace culture assessment, and she was very interested. That's her line of work. That's what she does. She's also a City of Onalaska resident, and so obviously she has an interest in how the city is run as well. So after talking with her, she was very interested in helping us with maybe some next steps in the process of what we were doing. And so at Staff Success Day, I did a presentation which gave a lot of the same information that I'm just giving you now to staff on that day in regards to the 6 values and behaviors, how they were assessed by both groups and what the comparisons were. So staff were provided with that, but then they were also given information that we were going to be doing some upcoming surveys. And those surveys were what Melissa and her business partner, Lauren, were going to help us with. And so that's what I call phase 2, so to speak. So Thinking Leaders Collective, that's the business that Melissa and Lauren operate. They assisted us in starting out with a pulse survey. That pulse survey was given out to staff February 9th through the 13th. So they had 1 week to answer a 5-question yes and no survey. As you'll see, and we're going to go over them in a moment, I mean, they're pretty basic questions, but they're also telling in regards to the information that they provided. It didn't take very long for them to complete. We had a 60% participation rate from employees, which was approximately 85 employees that completed this particular pulse survey. So now we're just going to go through again, just briefly, what the statements were that the employees got and what their answers or responses were to it. Keep in mind that the goal is to have an 80% or higher response rate to all of these statements. So the first statement was, I feel the work that I do matters. The yes responses was 89, roughly 9, or basically 90%. So we're doing really well in the fact that we have very passionate employees. They take pride in the work that they do. And so that is obviously a very positive thing for our staff. I'm not surprised at that one either, quite frankly. So. All right, I'm having trouble turning the page here. Statement 2 was, I have access to the equipment and tools that I need to do my job effectively. Again, we had a high percent yes rate on this one of 87%. And so we're doing well in those first two statements that we talked about. I'm going to stop you for just a moment. And, it's important that we focus on what we're doing well, but not forget about what we're doing well also. While sometimes it's easy to focus on maybe some of the more things that we need to work on harder, maintaining those positive things are also important as well. So I think it's telling that we're doing really well in those areas. Statement number 3, there is transparency in how high-level decisions are made. That yes response rate was 40%. So obviously there's a bit of a drop there in regards to it. Now, let's be clear, we didn't go into this assessment process thinking that we were going to come out with 100% on everything that we were doing. So we knew we had areas for growth, but we also knew that we were doing things well. And I'll come back to this one here in a moment. Statement 4 was leadership reflects the organization's values in their behaviors and actions. This was a 67% yes responses from our staff. So again, while it doesn't hit the 80% mark, I do view this one as a good response rate. But obviously there are things that we can do as well. Statement 5, I am included in the decisions that impact my work. This one had a 50% yes response rate to this one. And again, too, something I'm going to touch on here in a moment, but the next slide really puts them all together and just shows, generally speaking, those are the yes responses we received to each of those statements that were given. What I want to point out on a couple of these things, while this is good information to have, this quite frankly raises questions that we still need to have answered yet. And I'll just point out a couple of them. So for example, there's transparency in high-level decisions that are made. One, what does transparency mean to the individuals who are answering this or responding to this statement? And we have a plan for that, and I'll talk about that in a moment. The other is high-level decisions. To the individual answering or responding to the statement, who is high-level to them? Is it their immediate supervisor? Is it the department head? Is it me? Is it council? That we don't know because that isn't what part of the survey was intended to find out. So what we are doing are taking these questions, some of these questions, and one of our next steps is to do an annual survey. That survey will come out in May. That will be a more comprehensive survey of about 20 to 25 questions that will be posed to staff. Melissa and Lauren will help us draft those questions as well too, using some of this information. We've had conversations with them already in regards to the question, like some of the questions I just posed. And so they know that that's an area that they need to do some more deep dive into. So again, while this is good information to have, and I caution whether it was the last group, the 1 through 10 rating, or whether it's these percentage ratings. Yeah.
I see you mentioned the word staff, but would there be a difference between the departments? I mean, you may get a reading for staff, everybody, all included, but some departments may be doing better than others. So are you going to try to limit it down to the different departments where you feel there may be some issues? I mean, fire and police, are they also involved? So
Yeah.
maybe they have a higher rating than some of the other departments. So if you're going to do staff, doesn't that kind of skew the findings if some departments are not as well doing as well as others?
Absolutely. And you hit something on the head that we have had a lot of conversations about. A lot of staff want to be anonymous when they respond to these surveys. And so if we start asking too many questions, and this isn't just about the city of Onalaska, this is just generally in talking with Melissa and Lauren, and even just amongst ourselves here internally, the more you ask about identifying who the individuals are, the response rate is going to go down. And so this one intentionally did not ask, who the person was or what department they worked in. There is conversation about the next one, going a little bit more into that. If we do that, do we need to incentivize it in some form or fashion? Those are all conversations that we're currently having, because you are correct. There could be, we have some departments of 2 that may be perfectly happy with everything going, and then we have departments of 50. I'm just making up the numbers, of course. And so, yeah, how deep we dive into that remains to be seen. And what I was just going to say a minute ago, so when you see these numbers and when you see the numbers on the scale of 1 to 10 previously, I caution not to get too stuck into the numbers themselves. what I would like you to focus on, and I know you are as well, but looking at what is this information telling us? So what this information is telling us is we have a couple of areas that we do need to take a deeper dive into. Now, is that we do another survey, try and find out who's telling us these things, or as our leadership group, department heads or others in leadership positions, do we start tailoring activity or actions moving forward that will help us in our own departments kind of dive into what this is looking like within our own respective departments? And you beat me to the punch, so I'm going to move ahead a little bit and then I'll come back, is that's one of our action items that we are going to be doing before we get to the May survey. And that is departments are going to have department meetings and they're going to start asking questions or have conversations, more about conversations. What does transparency mean to the teams individually in different departments? What does communication mean? Because communication is an aspect of this as well. So we're going to start getting into individual departments, but as a general proposition overall, we just know that we have some work to do. We're not doing this to call out a department or to call out an employee saying, you have a bad attitude or you have either. We just, as a general proposition, we want the general across the board that people are happy with the work, whatever that looks like, and based on the questions. So that's why, again, from my perspective, we need to look at it more as a general versus the numbers themselves. But again, we'll do some deeper dive into the departments based on how we're going to move forward with some of the different recommendations. These are some of the recommendations that came out of phase 1 and phase 2. What that ultimately looks like. Again, we as staff are going to talk about that, figure out what we want to do moving forward. But we just need a little more information so we can tailor some of our conversations with our staff to fit the needs that we think we're looking for.
Go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah, I was actually going to save
Kinda
my comments to the
trying to wait
end.
till
I have
then,
one I
but-
will do at the end, but since you brought it up, I want to jump on with what Rick just said. So the purpose of a culture assessment is to improve the organization as a whole. It's not to identify, punish individuals. In fact, findings on a culture assessment normally would never be included on a performance evaluation for anybody. That it undermines the whole purpose of the culture assessment. It's how are we as an organization going to become better? And you should always be striving to become better. Doesn't matter how good you are, we can still be better. So,
Correct.
yeah. So I just wanted to jump in bandwagon on that. That's the purpose is for the organization to improve, not
Certainly.
to out individuals or chastise certain departments or what have you. Yeah.
But Jim, I do want to point out too, you bring up a good point. And so those are things that we are talking about as well and how best we can address those, again, without maybe narrowing it down to knowing who somebody is kind of a thing. So, and so some of the next steps, again, are going to be that May survey, the 20 to 25 questions. We are going to look at a way to up our response rate. We'd like to get it over 80 to 85% is what we'd like to see happen. To put it in context, we had, I think there's roughly 142 to 145 people in the group email that was sent to. And so we would like to get that number just a little bit higher. So we'll be looking at ways that we might be able to do that as well. And so hold on, make sure I got it. Yep. And then again, we'll continue. Once we have the information from the next survey as well too, then leadership and other staff will start having conversations about what do we need to do in order to start moving forward, start addressing some of the things that came out of these survey, kind of out of this assessment overall kind of a thing. So those are, again, a lot of conversations. We're still kind of in the information gathering process. But as I indicated too, there was one action item that we wanted to do between the Pulse survey and the annual survey to show staff, we hear them. We understand that there are things that we need to work on, and so we're going to start working on them now instead of waiting, 6 months before we decide what we're going to do next. And so I commend our leadership for coming up with a plan to move forward with at least one step at the moment, and then figure out the rest after that. So sorry, go ahead, Mayor.
You can finish then.
Oh, okay. So you've heard a lot about this process, what it's all involved. You may or may not notice that there is a piece missing from my perspective. And if anybody has that answer, let me know. Council, you have not been involved in this process and you are a part of our workplace culture here. So we need to have you involved in this process. Now what we have done so far has been specifically done with the employees and for very specific reasons and things like that. The part that you play in this looks a little bit different and it's not included in the process that we are doing right now. And so I'm not asking you to approve anything tonight, but I have gathered information in regards to what a retreat would look like for our council members to attend and work through what this workplace culture, as part of it, as what this workplace culture looks like especially now knowing some of the things that employees are saying as well too. Plus, quite frankly, if we want our employees to buy into that this is what we need to be doing, we need everybody to be involved in the process. And that includes elected officials. And again, I know you would be more than happy to do it. But again, that's something that I just wanted to bring up tonight. I'm not going to ask you to approve anything tonight. I'll come back next month with some more information on what that would look like. And then we could talk more about it at that point in time. But so again, if you felt left out at all, it was intentional, but I also knew that it was going to happen at some point in time. So that's essentially what I wanted to provide for this evening in regards to the culture assessment process to date. And I'm happy to take any questions that you have from this point.
Can I start first, Rick, by asking you the full court vision, when did that actually start?
My best recollection is between May and July of 2025.
In 2025. How much was that?
4,000, I believe, to do his part.
In total?
For both
The
parts?
full court vision.
Full court vision, I believe we paid him $4,000 for that portion.
And then the next part by the Pulse survey with the collective group, how much did that cost?
6,000.
Okay. And then for the next steps, it's going to be something less probably?
So everything that we're doing with them on the employee level is included. So anything we do from going forward is included. The retreat piece of it for council members, and I'll be honest, and I have told department heads this as well, part of the day includes department heads and council, and part of the day is just council. That would be an additional expense. I've gotten 3 estimates on that, and it ranges anywhere from, I think, 4,300 to 7,500, some of that, but actually, I think the highest one was 10,000. So there's a range on that one.
Okay.
That is something that is not planned, it is not budgeted for, so.
Yeah, and I like as far as the culture assessments, I mean, I think it's important. I do that in my work as well. But for the outcomes, increasing, this is just like a side note, increasing the amount of people that fill out the survey doesn't cut it for my type of survey. When I would need to actually come up with a KPI that was an action item that I felt would improve one of these, and these would be part of the measure.
Sure.
So just something to maybe think about from a different perspective. Okay, counselors, Stephen Knott.
Yeah, so just a couple comments. This all has to do with the 5 statements, two issues. So statement 3 and statement 5, there's transparency in how high-level decisions are made, and I am including decisions that impact my work. I would think there's an obvious correlation with that to some degree.
Right, there is, yep.
So, and that I would think that maybe that could be something that can inform some of the more senior members on the staff on, maybe some road ahead. And then the second one is, it's not bad, but I would like to see if we can work on improving the leadership reflects the organization's values and the behaviors and actions too. This comes down to the difference between, I would argue, a profession and a job. You know, a professional is, my self-identity is part of this. This is an honorable profession. I want the organization to succeed. I live it. It's part of who I am versus it's my job.
Right.
So, yeah.
Absolutely. Nope, I agree. You bring up a good point. We'll work on all of those. I mean, even the ones that have the higher percentages on them too. Because again, as I indicated before, we can't not work on those just because we're doing good. So we got to continue to work on all of those and any other information that we find out as we continue moving forward. Surveys are good and because they're a good source of information, but also having conversations with staff is also a good source of information. So while the surveys give us kind of a baseline, so to speak, having those conversations, I think will do a lot of good as well.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, thank you for that. I'll just come around here with the questions. Jim Benash, would you like to say anything?
I've been a part of these surveys, not obviously here, but in the places where I've worked. But where I've worked before, the corporate atmosphere was most of us are doing the same job. So then you ask about how your job, how it reflects your superiors, your line of communication, things like that. I see the difficulty here with the different departments that you've got, where some departments may be getting the correct information. Things may be generated well within the department. And then you may have someone who has a bias or something against somebody. So you're dealing with a lot of different issues. It's too bad we can't do it by department, but I don't think some of the percentages necessarily reflect the entire organization.
Sure.
I mean, I can see that. Personally, I don't feel that the organization itself, that is City Hall and the staff, I've never had an issue with anybody, but it's difficult by department to determine where you may find the issues, and trying to get everybody to say, well, we need more transparency or we need more trust. Maybe not every department has that issue. So I see what you're up against.
Sure. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Alderman Nash. Kathy Londorf?
I love that the staff feels like their work matters. That is awesome.
Right.
That's a really great thing for me. And that they feel like they're well positioned with their equipment, at least, to make sure that they have the tools and resources that they need to be able to get their job done. I would like to know more about specifically questions 3 and 5. Mostly because a lot of what's done at the city level with staff is governed by us, right? So if we are, the budget is strict or whatever, then people can't get things done. So I would like to know what kind of things that, not to say that we're the roadblock, but that may be part of that answer too, is I guess where I'm kind of getting from. It's beyond their control personally. Yeah, I think those are the kinds of things I would like to see a little more ironed out in the next survey specifically. But I'm looking forward to it.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you for that, Alder Londorf. Larry Jurassic?
Thank you, Mayor. Well, we get 89% on anything in this world is doing extremely well.
Right.
Especially we can't get votes in Congress that can't even get over 50%. I look at these numbers a little bit different in that it's very difficult to judge a 1 or 3 man unit versus a 20 or 25 man unit. Because obviously that last section there is probably going to be from one of those 20, 25 units where it's mostly just a worker, a grunt that go do the job and there's no comments to it. So I don't see where that number is going to change unless you change the variable of it, showing just a 3-man job. Yeah, they're going to know a lot more what's going on versus the larger ones. So the numbers here, I think, are fantastic. So thank you.
Thank you. Diane Wolf, would you like to say something?
I won't be here in about 40 some days, so I think no, I'm not counting down. No. I think it would be best for me to let the future this next council starting next April 21st next month to tackle this. I certainly wish you well. I like a lot of the numbers that I see. As always, someone said earlier, we'll never be 100%, but I always say, City of Onalaska, we're not perfect, but when we know better, we do better. And I think if we're able to flesh out some of how we can do better, that would be extremely important. But that's all I have. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there any staff here that would like to comment on this? Open floor. Okay, back to you, Rick.
Great. Excuse me. So again, we'll keep moving through this process, and I will bring back next month some information regarding that retreat that I was talking about as well too. So that's everything I have from this piece of it. I think next is the closed session.
Yeah. Rick, we should have did a contest tonight to see whose section was shorter, mine or yours.
Yeah, right.
Thank you everyone for your
I think I still won.
All right, item 12, if we're ready. Discussion and possible action on the city administrator contract for renewal. Note that this common council may convene in closed session under section 1985-1C of the Wisconsin statutes for the purpose of considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data on any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility. The common council may reconvene in open session to take the necessary action and/or continue with the printed agenda. If no action is taken, the common council may adjourn from closed session. Amanda, did you want to add any commentary to this closed session item before we have a motion?
No, Your Honor, I think this one is pretty self-explanatory.
Okay, thank you. I'll entertain a motion to go into closed session.
I'll make the motion.
Okay, motion has been made by Larry Jurassic. It's been seconded by Stephen Knott. Please answer when your name is called.
Alder Jurassic,
Aye.
Alder Knott,
Aye.
Alder Lohendorf. Aye. Alder Benash,
Aye.
Alder Wolf.
Aye.
Okay, the voting is unanimous. We are in closed session at 9:14 PM. Please give us a few minutes to clear the room and ensure that Diane Wolf remains present